Flash flooding a possibility again across much of central and eastern Kentucky. We'll break down who has the greatest risk for high water coming up.
A Kentucky county clerk talks to us about why he stopped issuing marriage licenses after the U.S. Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage.
WKYT investigates the state of animal shelters in Kentucky. We found not all of them meet state minimum standards.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with First Alert Weather.
Good evening. It's another day of showers and storms across much of this state, and we're tracking the threat for flash flooding.
A WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day continues. Heavy rain could cause more problems tonight. We begin with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Yeah, you look at the past just 24 hours worth of rainfall out there, and you notice two distinct areas that have been really worked over with some higher totals. Lexington Metro points north and west. You're talking about 1, local 2 and 3 inch amounts in this area. And across the southern part of the area, Somerset, Lake Cumberland, and points to the west. Those are some of the same areas that are currently under flash flood warnings down here. We got to watch for additional showers and storms to go up across the region. Let's face it, the past month has been very, very wet across the entire region. Ground is saturated. It is waterlogged. Can't hold a whole lot more. We have a flash flood watch that is out through tonight and into Friday. Live First Alert Defender showers and thunderstorms across northern Kentucky trying to develop back to the northwest into southern Indiana. And we're also watching now a couple of bands into southern Kentucky. Lexington Metro, we're okay for now. Noticing even a little sunshine trying to pop out of the clouds out there. Not necessarily a good thing. That may mean some more thunderstorms crank up. We see showers and storms here, locally heavy rains moving out of parts of Carlisle and Nicholas County into Fleming County. Cave Run Lake, Moorhead, you got another batch of some heavier rains working on in. Southeastern Kentucky, not a whole lot of action now. That will change, though, over the next several hours. We go from Somerset and points to the west. Flash flood warnings are out, and also severe thunderstorm warning just to the southwest of Adair County. This flash flood warning, by the way, for Adair and Russell counties. That'll go until 7:30. Really going to watch this cluster of showers and storms from Campbellsville and points to the east. That'll try to work into some of the same areas that have been hard hit over the past 24 hours. Pulaski County will keep a close eye on you. Guys, when I come back in a few minutes, we're going to break down the forecast for not only the short term on what Defender is showing, but what you can expect as we roll in to that all-important holiday weekend. That's in about 15 minutes.
All right, Chris, thank you. At one point last night, the Somerset area was under a flash flood emergency because so much rain fell.
And this is an eyewitness picture showing us just how dangerous it was in parts of Pulaski County. Look at that. High water covering parts of US 27 last night, stranding some cars and drivers. As Phil Pendleton tells us, high water is still causing some problems tonight.
This is actually a road, not a river. And this man is trying to see if it was safe enough to drive through.
Get some speed up.
Tim Lippert soon realized it wasn't, and like everyone else, he was following the advice of turn around, don't drown.
We're already having a hard time finding our way. And I have 3 navigators, and not one of them's worth the darn.
Lippert was among the many trying to get around the high water to another big body of water for the holiday weekend.
Trying to get to Cumberland Lake. We're meeting some friends. They have a cabin down here.
Slate Branch Road was among many roads that flooded Wednesday. In fact, the flash flooding caused many to send us snapshots of a submerged U.S. Highway 27.
All 27 flooded last night because of this.
Stephen Flint says he and his neighbors are used to seeing high water on Slate Branch, but few say they've ever seen it get this bad. They've watched people use their driveways to turn around all day long.
People know it does this. They can see it way down the road.
Yeah.
You don't have to come this far just to see the pond has been, it's going to pile up 5 times a year, you know.
Transportation officials say they are studying the area more closely to see if there's anything they can do to alleviate problems in the future. In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
The Pulaski County Sheriff's Office advises people to slow down and never drive through any high water. The sheriff says as little as a few inches of standing water can cause a car to go out of control. And if flash flooding wasn't bad enough, the National Weather Service also says a small tornado touched down in the Nancy community yesterday afternoon. It was an EF0 tornado. 1st District Constable Danny Weddle shot some video of it. The National Weather Service says the tornado destroyed a small barn and knocked down some trees. No injuries were reported. We're always tracking storms on WKYT.com, and you can too as well. Use an interactive radar to zoom all the way into your neighborhood. Download the WKYT News and Radar apps to keep up with the weather when you're on the go. And share your pictures and video with us. Email them to eyewitness@WKYT.com or use the hashtag KYWeather.
New tonight, Lexington police have released surveillance video showing a smash and grab theft at a jewelry store. The video comes from Jared on West Reynolds Road the night of June 19th. You can see two men smashing open a glass case and grabbing jewelry. A third man waited at the front door, and then all three men ran out of the store together. Lexington police say they left in a maroon Dodge Caravan. They say the men stole thousands of dollars worth of jewelry. Police have not made any arrests for the theft.
Tonight, the ACLU has filed a class action lawsuit against Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis on behalf of 4 couples who were denied marriage licenses. Davis stopped issuing licenses, saying the U.S. Supreme Court decision to legalize same-sex marriage goes against her beliefs. The Casey County Clerk is also not issuing marriage licenses, and today he talked to us about that decision. Sam Smith has the story new at 6.
He's taking a stand.
I just want to be able to exercise the same First Amendment rights that these folks are wanting to exercise.
He says that stance is not coming from a place of hate.
I don't have a problem with them being married to one another. I don't agree with it.
Casey County Clerk Casey Davis says his conscience conflicts with the Supreme Court's ruling last week. He even wrote a letter to the governor on Monday saying the ruling puts him in a prison. So from now on, he does not plan to issue any marriage licenses.
If I can't do it for a same-sex couple, then unfortunately I can't do it for an opposite-sex couple.
Davis says this week he's received several positive messages about his stance, but a lot more negative ones.
What they're saying to me about hanging me out here on the courthouse lawn, and that be the solution to the problem that I've created, that happened. That was said last night.
Davis has been Casey County's clerk for 5.5 years. He's worried his stance on this issue will end his term early, but he says his beliefs outweigh the position.
The God I serve sent his son to die for them and me, all equal. I want the same rights that they're wanting me to allow them to have.
In Casey County, Sam Smith, WKYT.
And along with Casey and Rowan counties, the Greene County Clerk is also refusing to issue marriage licenses.
State law requires animal shelters across the state to abide by minimum standards, but who's making sure they're following the law? We spent months looking into this. As WKYT investigative reporter Miranda Combs found out, the answer may actually be no one.
Okay, Miranda, where to go?
My photographer came here an hour before on his own to check the place out. State law requires county shelters to meet a list of minimum standards. Some things we recorded here were below minimum standard. Standing water, water bowls turned over, unsanitary holding areas, torn makeshift roofs over dozens of puppies, and an apparent problem with drainage.
Hey, how are you? Miranda Combs, WKYT. We're doing a story on
This is the supervisor of the Kentucky River Regional Shelter. He didn't want to talk about what we saw at the shelter.
Do you need help? Is it a funding issue? Is it just too many animals?
I ain't got no comment.
We stuck around and he got his chairman of the board, Tammy Noble, on the phone.
And we've been working on a story trying to figure out what shelters in the state aren't up to their minimum standards by Kentucky legislation from '04. It was supposed to start in '07.
So at this point in time, nobody knows how many of the counties are in compliance with the 2004 laws.
Cynthia Gaskill has started a study through the University of Kentucky to find out how many counties are in compliance with the 2004 Kentucky legislation that placed minimum standard requirements on county shelters. It also moved oversight and control of the law from the Department of Agriculture to the counties.
No one at the state level has the power to enforce the laws, and it created a situation of self-regulation by the counties.
Very quickly found out it was not going to be as easy and as straightforward as I thought it would be.
Jennifer Sinsky released this report through the University of Louisville on the current state of Kentucky shelters. Since the minimum standards law was put in place, no one has checked to see how it's working.
And they're not utilizing it.
She found out not well. She filed open records requests with each county for animal records, which each shelter is required to keep as part of the 2004 legislation. Sinsky's intent was to start a database to share information and in turn improve shelter transparency. Only 66 of the 120 counties completed her request.
There's no way to check up on any shelter to see if they are following this law.
She says it's mostly because there's no enforcement from the counties where the shelters sit.
The only enforcement right now is that if you live in that county and you decide to follow this up, you can potentially sue your county for not meeting the requirements. That's it. That's your only recourse.
These are outside year-round.
And that's not good.
You're required to have heat.
Attorney Catherine Callahan has picture
Urine on the floor.
after picture.
I don't know if that animal can stand a full height,
Which is
required by law.
Of below standard shelters across the state.
In your opinion, is there any excuse for any of this?
For the ones that I've shown you, no. Some of the counties didn't even know there was still money available.
This shelter is run by a nonprofit and sits in Perry County. Perry, Letcher, Knott, and Breathitt counties all pay to bring their animals to this shelter.
And I don't think that anybody would work in this situation and not be 100% an animal lover. So I'm not blaming anyone here. I'm wondering if the county needs to support this more.
Noble tells me they're doing the best they can with what they have. The counties pay the shelter $22,000 each a year for the shelter services. That's less than $90,000 a year total. Is it enough? The one that decides is the one writing the checks.
And I reached out to all 4 judge executives with counties that feed into that shelter. The only one that returned my call was Zach Weinberg of Knott County. He said all the judges are looking at the issue. He says it takes time and money, and the counties are short on both.
So he told you the situation at the shelter now is better than it was?
He did, and he also says they have $400,000 set aside for renovations, but he did mention that when you've got 4 counties involved and a large board, it's hard to make change.
Maybe at some point we can follow this up and see if anything changes in the next year or two.
We will.
All right, Miranda, thank you. Those familiar white plank fences around the Kentucky Horse Park will soon look a lot different.
Now, that's because park leaders say nearly 30 miles of plank fences around the park will soon be painted black. They say the change will save more than $50,000 a year because black fences are easier to maintain than white fences. The white fencing has been in place since the horse park opened in 1978.